I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yes, welcome to the Curb Your Enthusiasm After Show. The only show that comes with instant dance moves. Welcome. I'm Christian Bladt, known across the world. Not really.
I wasn't informed.
Yeah, but known in some circles for in comedy circles, as the longtime producer and co-host for comedian Dennis Miller. Flobo.
Hey, what's up?
I believe you are a comedian in your own right.
Yes, I am. Album now, American for now available in stores. Gotta put that on there as much as I can, you know.
I can't believe that Chappelle beat you for the Grammy last night.
Yeah, I know. I was
That's
up
a
there. I
tough
was
one, yeah.
outside the nomination circle. Next year's mine.
Next year's going to be...
Yeah.
that's all
Got
right.
it for you, man.
But Dave felt like this was his year.
Yeah.
Next year, 2021, the year of Flobo.
Exactly.
James.
Yo!
That's all we really need
Yeah.
to say. No, say hello to the people, and we'll remind them your background with Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm James Maple. I'm new to Curb Your Enthusiasm. Got a fresh set of eyes, but I'm a big comedy fan, so I'm super excited to be on the panel, give you my insight into this awesome show that I'm now currently obsessed with.
And making her debut on our panel, Happy New Year, Rachel Goodman.
Well, thank you, Christian Blatt.
And you missed it last week, the Happy New Year's, and
Yeah.
We'll try and keep it going.
Oh, yeah.
throughout the-
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, for sure.
And you, in addition to being a fan of comedy and having been on a number of AfterBuzz panels with myself, you are also an accomplished author.
Yeah, I'm actually, I will be self-publishing for the first time in 2020. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I'm a huge comedy fan, and there's always comedy in everything I write. So on top of that, I also love Curb Your Enthusiasm, and just a random note, I love Mel Brooks, and I know, we've seen him. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He has
Quite a
been
few
on the
times.
show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's just go. Just overall thoughts, about a minute. Just what you thought about the show as a whole. Rachel, we of course will go ladies first here. And since you weren't here last week, your thoughts on you can quickly give your thoughts on the first 2 episodes of the season thus far.
It's hilarious. I think, okay, so this is, obviously, as a female, too, what I really appreciate with this episode in particular, and the last one, but this one, that we kind of get to see the other side of the Me Too movement. Now, granted, I am a full supporter of the Me Too movement, and I think that there's absolutely a problem, but it's also kind of hilarious to see someone like Larry dealing with it, and how sometimes, there are just moments where, okay, he kind of really messed up here, but then other things that weren't really that bad that were taken out of context. So to me, I'm just watching this okay, this show is hilarious, and I love how they're handling everything in 2020. It's a very fresh take.
No, absolutely. James, your thoughts on
I am
this
going
week's
to kind
episode?
of piggyback on that a bit. As a new kind of viewer of the show, I'm shocked at the topics in which the show tackles.
Sure, absolutely.
Like we'll go into greater detail, but it's just shocking to me. Like you said, the Me Too movement. I was like, whoa, we're going there. Okay, we're gonna be laughing about these things, but it's done in such a clever way that it's almost like something so devastating like the Me Too movement and what goes on with it. It can kind of bring us together a bit with a little bit of brevity. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm so shocked again at some of the topics that the show tackles. So this was a great episode for me.
Can I say one more thing, too?
Sure.
Kind of going off of what you said, the fact that he could bring up cancer and somehow it's hilarious.
Exactly.
It's true.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That is definitely.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to
No,
add.
Larry can navigate a lot of, rough waters, as it were. What are your thoughts on the second episode?
This one was actually flowed a lot better than the first one. Not to say the first one had the Herculean task of reestablishing the world and introducing what Curb this was, but I'm now seeing what the engine looks like in season 10. But to add on to the Me Too movement things, I actually when I first started doing comedy, I had a similar bit where I was texting my girlfriend and she wanted to go on a date and sending me a permission slip and I'll get it notarized. And to see it actually play out on the screen is like, for a guy from a different time, it's something he's really struggling with. And we saw that later on and how he tried to maneuver that. So
are you saying you're a guy from a different time and that you're from the 2010s? Is
Yeah,
that
you know, I'm
time
well
from?
traveled. You know, these both decades I've been
You know,
around.
after the show, I'm going to tell you about the 90s, but we don't have time for that right now.
Music was on disc.
Let's talk about the sort of the way the show opens, and we'll kind of follow this through line through. Larry's lawyer, who is, kind of breaking down the sexual harassment case. And Larry talks about how if he doesn't win, he's going to leave the country. I guess I'll go to Canada, because he just knows people say that, how it would be an injustice. I wanted to kind of get everybody's thoughts on the lawyer's restroom, and Larry actually using the restroom and how he gets cornered about that. Rachel, you first.
So I want to take a poll to see how many of us would actually have used the bathroom.
Absolutely would have used it.
Because I
100%
probably
would
would
have.
have.
Soul the center here.
Look, here's the thing. Not to get too graphic. Number one, yes. Number two, probably not.
Yeah.
'Cause
No,
you
okay.
The
can't-
ventilation alone.
You can't pretend. You can't be like, no, I didn't. Yeah. It'd be like, something died in there. Well, I don't know. Yeah. But number one for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If I had to go, I don't want to go use a public restroom. You know?
That's for
Yeah.
Can I be the voice of dissent here? Here's this guy putting himself through law school, and the only perk he ever wanted, besides his cool car, his dope house, is his own personal bathroom for a reason.
Yeah.
And he just says no.
Well, then that's why it should have a lock on it, and you need a key.
exactly.
Exactly. If you really don't want someone in your bathroom, lock it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or one of those little punch codes. That's all you need.
I have a personal story about this actually. So
Oh my gosh.
years ago, I worked for a company that shall remain nameless, and my boss had his own private bathroom. And my last day, it was like a big rule: you do not use this bathroom.
Sure, of course not.
My last day. Guess what your boy did?
I took my time.
I took my sweet time, and I deliberately, this may be kind of graphic, I peed all over that seat. I did not like that man at all. He was not a good man. So I got my revenge the best way I could. I knew his
By
back.
marking territory?
Yes, I marked my territory, and then I left. So
I mean, I think the best way to do it would have been a deuce in the sink, but that's all right. So
I'm a classy dude, you know what I mean?
that's good. That's good. I
classy
appreciate
dude.
it.
Hashtag classy revenge.
Yeah, there you go, like that.
Yeah, not me. I go literally for the gutter. Yeah. All right, Flobo, your thoughts on the lawyer and the restroom and getting Larry under oath. Larry, I think I called him Gary. I'm thinking Gary Shandling, not that different.
Yeah,
than Larry.
they're different. Yeah. Cool crossover, actually.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're looking at the bathroom there. He asked nicely, says no. It's cool. I would totally do it. And he denies it. But I will say this. That CSI scene of him getting rid of all the evidence was perfect. It's perfect for me.
He gets rid of a hair that may not even be his.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like, I'm getting this out of here.
Yeah.
And then he took the napkin.
And then put it in his
Well,
pocket.
that's
So
a smart
great.
move. Sometimes you got to hide the evidence.
Yeah.
See, he knew that would have been a rookie mistake. You feel like Larry possibly, let me know what you think, James, has used the restroom before that he's been encouraged not to.
I mean, as someone who has done that before, as an expert on pillaging bathrooms, I definitely think he did it the right way. You gotta, if you gotta get in there, do your business and leave. Unless you're trying to spite somebody, then get in there, do your business, and make
Take
a
your
splash.
time.
I
Yeah.
wonder
Make a
what he
splash.
noticed.
That's all I'm
though.
saying.
What did
Make
the
a
lawyer
splash.
notice that was different? Like,
What's that?
what do you think the lawyer noticed that was different? That's the thing that really got me.
I really wanted to know that myself because he walked in and then kind of like did.
It's like he knew.
He knew something was up.
Well-
To me, it was maybe like the amount of paper towels that he had.
Okay.
That was my first
Or
indication.
somehow he smelled things.
Oh yeah, that's good.
But it could
That's
also
good.
just be the door wasn't open, it wasn't ajar the right amount.
That's
It was
an
either
excellent point,
closed
too.
a little too much, open a little too much.
He's also a lawyer, and he probably understands when someone's lying to him
That's true.
or is uncomfortable.
You
And
would
the
hope if
way,
he's a good lawyer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the way that Larry looked
Right.
was pretty, dead
Suspicious,
giveaway.
yeah.
Giveaway.
And we probably all felt this coming, but James, what did you think about when when the lawyer has Larry under oath, and he's like, "Yeah, I have one more question for you." I was just like, "All right, this is gonna be good." Did you use my restroom? Did that surprise you at all?
It did. It did. I thought he was going to tell the truth because he was under oath. But of course,
Well, he
he
didn't
did.
actually give the answer, did he?
No,
did.
it cuts
He
the
did.
credits.
Yeah.
Yeah, cut
Yeah,
the credits.
right to the
Cut
credits,
to the
yeah.
credits. Yeah, I was hoping that it would have been this bigger explosion of a scene.
Right.
But I mean, I guess there's always the next episode, so we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you saw the commercial for the next episode, the lawyer is in there, so this may come
okay.
up again.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
To James' point, I thought it'd be opposite. I thought, like, you know what? I side sit. I grabbed the boot. Like, I thought everyone would explode or implode at this point, but we didn't get an answer.
Yeah. Well, it's all working up and building together. Obviously, at the end, that was sort of a great moment to see how it all led to that moment. What were you going to say, Rachel?
Oh, I thought that at first he did say no, but then the lawyer asked him again, and then
Yeah.
they were like, they cut it. And,
Yeah, I think you're right.
Is that right?
I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
that might be what happened. Yeah. So, all right. So that's one crisis averted. Then Larry also gets a call from his doctor that he has to come in. Now, has anybody ever had an MRI? I hope none of you have ever had
I've
to.
had an
I
MRI,
have.
yeah.
And it's only 20 minutes, but it's like, I don't know, it's like 4 hours of just being in there. Because if you move like that, you got to start over.
Oh, wow.
Like you can't move. Like you can blink, but I just keep my eyes closed. I'm like, I can't move. And of course, as soon as you go in, everything itches. I was surprised that they didn't play up the MRI more. What were we going to say?
Well, yeah, I mean, so me, I've had an MRI. My husband's had an MRI. When he went in, they had to give him a Valium. That's how bad it was. Because it's not even just, it's the tight space, it's the noise.
I mean, I didn't even know that was an option. If they were giving out Valium, let me get one. I'll get one for the road. Don't worry, I'm taking an Uber. It's fine. One for Saturday night. Let me do a half. You know?
Don't give Larry any ideas.
that's
He'll be
true.
going back for an MRI.
Yeah, that's true. So I when I saw that come up, I actually expected. I don't know. I thought we were going to get more out of it, but obviously there's only so much you can do. And I was going to say in a half-hour show, but this was 36 minutes. Yeah. So I thought that the cancer storyline, cancer as the backdrop, was very funny. The number of times that it came up, I thought the most interesting part, James, was the cancer pact that Larry and his friends went into. That if any of them got cancer, they would not be friends with the rest of them would not be friends with that one. What did you think of that?
I was really, really surprised by that. Again, to go back to me being new to the show.
Yeah, this is only your second episode.
I'm like, yo, y'all are really going to do this to this man right now? Yeah. So it was so interesting, and I was kind of taken aback, and I didn't know where I know where I would stand personally. Of course, I would still be friends with that person, but I can appreciate the sheer honesty of his friends being like, well, homie, no, that's really gonna be cutting into my sitting around time, so I can't deal with your cancer story.
I think Flobo, and let me know if you agree. I think it helps that 3 of them are comedians / writers, and then of course Jeff is an agent, but he's in the comedy world. So, and obviously Jeff Garland is a comedian, and I feel like that's a comedian thing. Like, I don't really want to see you at the end of your life.
Look, everyone, we are friends. Up times, there's down times, and look, instead of going there and having this farce where you're like, I just don't know what to say.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. Just say, look, I'm opting out. I'm out. Let me know when you get better. It's all good. It's terrible, but it's true.
And if anybody is familiar with Richard Lewis's stand-up, he would definitely strike you as the person who would absolutely not want to be your friend. However, were he to have cancer, you would all hear about it, and he might be inviting himself over,
Of course.
and things like that. What did you think, Rachel?
I was not surprised they reacted this way at all. I was like, okay, this seems very fitting, and I actually kind of expected they would tell him, just leave now, don't talk.
Wow, this show has that kind of tone.
Yeah, I totally does, man.
Welcome. Everybody had honesty. As always, Leon is the bluntest honesty, and he's just like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hilarious though, and I wouldn't have expected anything less.
Yeah. So, keeping that in mind, I was a little surprised later in the episode when Larry starts to get annoyed that no one called to ask about how the test went. It was like, well, we don't want to be your friend if we find out about the cancer. So we're not going to pretend that we care about the test leading up to it. And especially, again, back to Richard Lewis, just saying like, I thought about calling you, but then I didn't. Yeah. Which is, again, a great honest answer.
I thought it was on brand with the whole that party. I wish I could have gone, but I got lost in the man.
We'll get to that.
I just figured that
Don't
was
worry, we'll get to the U.S.
I wanted to call your cancer thing, but
See, I loved the response of, I just completely forgot.
That was Leon, right?
Yeah, Leon.
Again, the very blunt honesty. Leon is honest to a fault, I'm sure. I think that was sort of funny. But since you mentioned it, well, actually, there's one other time where it came up when Larry was with Cheryl. he tried to mention the cancer diagnosis
Oh,
when she
my
was talking about
goodness.
how, like, I don't really see us together, which, by the way, good for her. Finally gotten some sense. And
She almost died last week.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, keep that in mind.
It's Harry Potter.
And just the idea that, and then Larry's like, yeah, so what if they told me that it was only 2 years? So he's like trying to say, it's like, if it's only 2 years, you have to be with me. What did you think about that, Rachel?
I was laughing. First of all, before he brought, I called it the cancer card. That's
Yeah.
like literally what I wrote in my notes.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, he's going there. I can
course,
feel
yeah.
it. He dropped it. And like her reaction, like that deadpan of, nah, I just don't see it going that
Yeah.
way. I was like, good for her. Like, because this dude, like so Larry, just the fact that he would even drop it for the wrong reasons
Yeah.
felt characteristic, but it was just hilarious. They couldn't have played the scene any better, especially with the side sitting.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And I just love the fact that she, even if he only had 2 years to live, she still was like, nope, not going there.
I can appreciate his follow-up, and he was like, well, look, how about if we hire a nurse? I just complained to the nurse, and like, you can be in your own kind of separate life, and I can still have my cancer, but keep my complaints to the side.
Well, and they would
My cancer.
and they would travel together, and the nurse would come too.
Yeah, I'm like, well,
So-
look at him trying.
Can I just say cancer card sounds like something that would be on a Curb With Enthusiasm show? Like, I gave her the card. It didn't work out.
Yeah, it's like,
What's going
it's like,
on?
oh no, you didn't play the cancer card. I played it.
I played it well.
Yeah, right, exactly. So we referenced sort of as we transition now to Larry and Cheryl, the side sitting. And I feel very comfortable side sitting with my wife. In a way, the idea that you have to sit across from someone at a meal, it's usually the layout of the table. Sure, that makes sense. Sometimes the table is much larger. You know, two people get seated at a table that's really for six, but you know it's not busy. They're like, "I'll just sit here." And sometimes you just want to sit closer to the person. As a fellow married person, Rachel, what do you think about side sitting?
Well,
Uh-oh.
at least he wasn't next to sitting. That would have been even creepier.
Oh, I've done that.
Yeah,
But again, with my wife.
Yeah, no, like when me and my husband go out, if it's
The
like,
aforementioned hubby Joe.
yes,
Yeah.
and we can't hear each other because it's super loud and it's a
Oh,
big
sure.
enough table. I might sit next to
Yeah.
him if it's a long table, but like otherwise,
Yeah,
we'll
so
we just do
you're
the whole-
saying like when you and hubby Joe go to an all-night rave in Long Beach down at the
Exactly.
docks, you guys sit next to each other because it's just too loud.
exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Those raves just get too wild.
I'm
That's
going
what I
to
hear.
interject this. I work in the service industry. I'm
Yeah.
a surfer. I'm cool with the side sitting. This is going to coming from the worker side of
absolutely.
things. But if you're going to sit to someone's side, I'm going to need you to stay in your seat. Stay
Right,
in your
that's
seat.
true.
Because behind the scenes, there are seat numbers that food goes to. People getting up and switching seats.
Well,
Sit your
I
behind
can see
down
that.
and stay there.
I can see
Okay?
that being a bigger problem when you have more than a party of two.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've certainly switched seats. Like I can't hear you.
Yeah.
So that has to be annoying. Like,
Yeah.
oh, did you order the tuna melt? No, I got spaghetti. What?
Yeah.
The worst is when you drop stuff off and people start eating it. I'm like, I didn't order this. I'm like, you have one job. Yeah. You have one job.
Yeah.
Remember what you ordered. I have all these jobs. You have one.
And somehow let me guess, it's your fault, right?
Yeah.
Somehow.
Oh, you should have known I switched seats. Yeah, you and the 17 other people. I'm looking
Yeah.
at all your seat movements right now.
I would read this book about all the things that mess up a server. This is pretty
Oh,
cool.
I'm a right one.
I just
think
say
you
this:
should.
You
with,
should.
with side sitting, you have a very small window when you get to the restaurant to decide to sit on the side. You don't switch mid-meal.
Yeah.
Rookie mistake. Not a fan of that at all.
Now, here's the thing, though. If I was gonna if in a world where I met up with like an ex, I'm not gonna side sit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be like
Then
further away
Here's the
sitting.
thing, though. We're peeling it back. This is Larry's ex. However, they have been intimate very recently,
Yeah.
and he is, of course, interested in pursuing that.
Yeah.
So Cheryl might not want him to side sit, but I can see Larry feeling like that it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Although he does eventually move back, so I think that's when he's like, "Oh, it's not going to happen."
Right.
All right. I don't know if he thought that the side sitting was going to close the deal.
No.
Yeah. So, in general, and let us know in the chat whether you're watching live or you're watching the archive. How do people feel about side sitting? And let's say side sitting with just a friend, whether it's a member of the same sex or of the opposite sex. If it's a date, but maybe like date two, you know what I
Ooh,
mean?
that's
yeah,
weird.
there's a lot of times where I can see that the side sitting would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Let's get back to your assigned seat. You know, it's like
my thought
this
process.
is a ticketed event.
Right.
You
Right.
have, you have seat 204. I'm in 207, so we can talk.
Personal
So
space.
romantic.
Yeah.
So romantic.
Well, look, that's how you got to look at the world.
Right.
All right. Look, I don't get out into the world much except for these shows. So this is the way I remember.
Well, I live here. Checkmate.
Yeah. You're at the studio. All right. You showed me up. So, yeah. And I think that from that conversation, we do get a great Larry moment, which I thought was very funny, is that he can't date now. Not in this class. I think that was to Jeff, right? That he can't date now because he's old and bald. Yeah, so I have that actually in the wrong part of my notes. But
Still a fact,
it's valid that even it's like, yeah, but you're rich. I'm sorry. Rich definitely trumps old and bald. It trumps one easier than it trumps both.
True.
Yeah.
But Larry David rich, like this fictional version of Larry David is probably almost as rich as the real Larry David. You know, who's has more, probably has more money than Jerry Seinfeld somehow. If not, it's close.
Yeah.
So that's a real question, and I got to start with you, Rachel. Does rich trump old and bald? I mean, you'd like to say a good personality would, and Larry can be funny.
I mean, I'm not. If you're asking me personally,
Well, just in general.
In general,
Like-
I would say somebody like him could get a date. Like just
Okay.
Yeah.
like just by showing up and okay, I take that back. His personality might be a bit of a challenge,
His
but
personality might be a challenge, but even when he's being obnoxious, he's usually still funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And he seems to be, he seems to have luck. I mean, he gets dates, so
Yeah.
it's not like
that's when you realize that this is a fictional show. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, again, he's rich, so that's
Yeah.
fine. What were you gonna say?
I firsthand know that Rich trumps bald. Firsthand. I've seen
Yeah.
it. Trust me.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Again, keep going back to my restaurant references. I'm telling you, I've seen it.
You guys are also rich.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
So that's
This
fine.
is wealth right there. This is
Yeah.
a sheen of wealth right up here.
No, I think most people that are with gender expression our age, we look for a little bit of security in our potential mates. I'm not saying that rich means you're totally fine and locked together, but from a distance, you have a way of paying the bills.
Yeah.
I feel a lot more safe with this person.
And I think too that Larry, he just kind of always exudes this confidence, whether he means to or not, like a quirky kind of confidence.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it's the fact that he is stable and that he also kind of acts a certain way and comes off like he might be the rich dude.
Right.
So I think that helps, and people, knowing who he is on some level. But yeah, I think that that attitude definitely trumps being bald.
We'll continue to go through the show in a moment, but I want to make sure that everybody knows that before the end of the episode, we will get to our special segment, which is the Curb Correction Corner. And that is the moment where each of us will pick the moment where we least disagree with Larry. There could be, where we least agree with him. There could be, dozens of those moments. We have to each pick one where we're like, no, this is when he was the most wrong in the episode. There are plenty of times where he's wrong. And then Flobo, I know you have some news.
Yeah.
And James is in the chat.
Yes.
And let us know when we have comments that you'd like to
Absolutely.
weigh
I've
in.
been posting questions. Nothing yet, but
That's
let
all
us
right.
know if you think
And-
Rich Trump's personality, side sitting. Let us know, and we'll squall back
And
at
the
you.
cancer card. We want to hear about
Yeah,
the cancer card as
give
well.
us your cancer card. as well.
Embroidered and everything.
And
Yeah.
if you're not watching live, definitely leave a comment
Yeah.
in the archive version, and we will possibly get to it next week if we're not just too busy talking about another great episode. So we were talking about Larry and Jeff, and I think that's a great time to move over to another important storyline here in the episode, which is the painting of Susie.
The most important thing.
When the painting was unveiled, what did you think, James? You're not as familiar with the character. Did you feel like, oh my God, she's gonna hate that picture? Because I didn't find it particularly flattering. Or were you not surprised that she loved it?
I thought she would love it.
Right.
But
You thought correctly.
I thought, yeah. I was more shocked that, because, we've all been in a place where perhaps you've given a gift to someone and their significant other is there. I was more focused on that aspect of it. I don't think they played up too well, because I feel like he raised the gift bar so high that her husband was like, yo, like, I said camera.
Yeah, Jeff wanted him to get a camera.
Like, Jeff was like, bruh, I said, you get this gorgeous piece of equipment right here. Not a camera. No, the bar is so high for me.
This beautiful, thoughtful gift.
Yeah.
And he, now Jeff's like, well, what am I going to have to
Yeah.
get? He was like, I was going to get 2 cameras. I don't know. What did you think, Rachel?
I was expecting her to nitpick it somehow.
Yeah.
So I was shocked when she loved it as much as she did, but soon as she loved it, I kind of sensed that this was going to be a plot device so that something could happen so she could really hate him again.
And I do love when she says, Flobo, when she says, this is such a great, thoughtful gift. I've forgiven everything you've ever done. And Larry kind of understands, what have I ever done? Which,
nice
James,
of
you
you.
might not know this, but throughout the previous 9 seasons, there's a lot.
Yeah.
He does a lot.
There's
to
a
her.
lot of reasons that
Just last week,
Susie
she called her Abraham Lincoln.
just go back to last week.
I can
That's it.
reference that hat incident last week. So.
Yeah, it's funny because when Jeff is mentioning that Susie wants a camera for her birthday, I actually thought it was some kind of leverage because she knows about Larry and Cheryl. So it's like, I'm going to get a birthday present out of you, otherwise I'm going to tell Ted.
Oh,
so it
yeah.
just didn't go
That's
where I thought it
interesting.
would.
Right, absolutely. I didn't even see that.
So she's
Nor
a
did
better
I.
person than I am because I would have immediately been like, how can I use this secret knowledge that I'm sworn to my advantage? I know, I'd like a camera.
Well, to answer your first question, I thought she was gonna hate it because it was like blue steel.
look at it!
Yeah, it was kind of like Zool, very like
And
Ghostbusters 2.
It's and it's an enormous painting.
Yeah, it's
It's,
huge.
Yeah.
it's not like a movie poster, like one sheet.
Yes.
This is like a Subway ad. And I don't mean the restaurant. It's like a gigantic. It's huge.
And I love how she put it in the dining room.
Yes,
she
at
did.
the head of the
I
table.
loved her sitting in front of it, and she was carrying herself differently. That was great. And of course, Larry gets angry about the aforementioned conversation about his cancer pact with his friends, and of course, he gets tomatoes all over it. So not a shock that Larry somehow damaged the painting, but at that point, it's still possible to be repaired.
True. Can I just
However-
say, I didn't believe that someone will give you raw tomatoes just on the plate
I
like
thought
that.
that dinner
No,
was a
it
bit
was kinda
strange.
weird.
It was a salad, wasn't it?
I
Yeah,
guess.
that's what you call a
All
salad.
right,
I mean,
continue. I'm sorry.
the
jumped in.
cherry tomatoes, or maybe like
Like that, big,
Yeah.
this was like a Roma tomato just by itself.
It was pretty
raw.
big.
I don't buy that juice would have gone all the way
Yeah.
over
It
there.
was
to the
marinara
painting.
sauce, right?
No,
Yeah.
it was tomato juice.
It looked like
Wow.
tomato.
Just
But
like
now we're getting into Seinfeld territory with a second spitter, and
But like the other thing is that obviously they made this, of course, they made this way more complicated than it had to be. They could have left the painting there, hired somebody to come and clean it up. It probably didn't need as much of a repair as they were making it out to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that tomato juice, like going airborne
Right.
and all the way over and then being as much of it as it was. I'm sorry, but anytime I've done that with a tomato, it's gone like right in front of me. Or on my shirt.
you
Or,
could
like,
try to do that with. You could get like 1,000 tomatoes and try and do that, and I would say not succeed with any of them.
we need like a Mythbusters episode.
Yes.
To try and recreate
Oh my God!
this.
Can we? Hey, Jeff in the booth. Can we just get 1,000 cherry tomatoes in here? You guys, you just go to Ralph's on Magnolia. You go and get them. That's fine.
I just put in a DoorDash. So
Okay. Oh, great. Oh my God!
Thanks.
Great.
Clutch.
Flobo's gonna pay for it.
You know,
Comedian?
I thought it was really interesting too in that scene. Again, with my fresh set of eyes for this series,
Sure, absolutely.
How the dinner escalated from there. He was pulling out knives and cursing at each other. I was like, "Yo, is this the kind of dinner we get? Is this our family sit down dinner?"
Yeah,
that
this
we
was
have?
a calm
a
Larry
Tuesday
David
night.
dinner.
Yeah, okay, this is
exactly.
calm.
Chucking knives.
Yeah.
It was
I'll
like,
fix it.
I'll kill you.
So
I was like, whoa.
the painting, unfortunately, is not destined to be repaired because the workman, whose name I actually I don't know if I want to take the time to look it up. To be honest with you. Look, he's a great character. I don't know if you're important enough for me to look you up. Sorry.
Pour it up for Milos, yo.
Yeah.
I thought it was Milos.
I
Yeah.
think, you're
I think
right.
it is.
Okay. So Milos, he is, of course, look, Susie's not really being particularly kind to him. Larry, very appreciative of the work he's doing with his Spike coffee shop. And, he's going to bring some stuff over to Larry's house. And as soon as he sees the painting, and he starts cursing at it, which I thought was great.
Cream and mahogany.
Yeah. Not shocked that it ended up in the trash can, torn to shreds. But I expected maybe the damage would be revealed later, not just Susie and Jeff driving by.
Right.
Did that surprise you at all, James?
I actually, before I answer, I have a question. Did Jeff intentionally drive Susie
Well,
by there?
I don't think he would have any reason to know that the painting had been damaged.
Because he had this like little weird smirk when he like looked over and was like, "Yeah, you see that?"
I found
So you know what? That's a great question. So maybe he had seen it earlier.
Yeah.
And look, it could be a cut scene.
Yeah.
You know, because it's already 36 minutes. So
Yeah.
maybe they didn't want. Yeah. Actually, that would make sense if he's driving around like, oh my God, Susie, you got to get in the car.
Yeah,
You know,
he's
he's
like, "Oh, we're gonna take a quick trip down the street.
We're gonna go get mani pedis.
Yeah,
She's
we're
like,
gonna take
we're gonna do what?
We're gonna take the long
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I guess I was kind of shocked at like the sheer damage of it because
Yeah.
before with the tomato, it was relatively repairable. But after Milos got his hands on it, he went ham on that painting.
I mean, he's a guy who works with his hands. So
Yeah,
he can
I mean-
look, he can build, but he can tear it down.
He can
just as easily.
destroy, man.
Yeah. What did you think, Rachel?
One, I thought that he was going to actually do worse than just the painting.
Yeah.
That we were going to see this like destroyed area where he had found the painting.
Okay, that would make sense.
I thought it was perfect the way they fit that in at the end where they had the drive-by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, just the look on his face was like perfect.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, I knew that painting, I knew that Larry getting possession of the painting again was not going to end well. And this was the perfect way for everything to go crazy.
Does Larry give him a bad review now? Will there be 2 bad reviews from you?
Yeah.
How's the show my painting?
Well, I don't know. He's not done with the Spike Coffee Shop next to Muppet Joe.
Yeah.
So I think he has to. I think he feels bad too. So I mean, not so much about the painting, but look, Larry, I don't think would be able to handle being on Susie's good side. So I think this is the status quo. This is how the relationship should be. So when the painting is first damaged at the dinner. At first, Larry's being very dismissive about, how he got it done, the artist and all of that. So I think that the reveal was honestly that, oh yeah, you guys didn't ask me about cancer. But I thought he was being evasive because, and this could still turn out to be the fact, I thought that he had commissioned the painting from one of the inmates that are also artists for the fundraiser that he did not attend, which ties into another topic. What did you think, Rachel?
I thought there was something sketchy with the painting. I didn't get that conclusion, but I kind of thought, maybe this was somehow some kind of accident.
Right.
Like he didn't even mean to do this.
This is a painting of Fran Drescher.
Because they were really harping on the fact that it looked like her.
Yeah.
And then they were kind of starting to discuss it, and which made him uncomfortable. And so I think that it was just he happened to see a painting of somebody, wasn't her, but kind of looked like her.
Looked enough
so
like her.
he pretended
Sure.
that he had something commissioned to look like her. Because remember, one of the questions was, what did you have to do? Send a photo in?
Yeah.
And he didn't want to answer
He was
it.
very short about
Yeah,
that.
I don't think
yeah.
he did. I
But-
think that he just found this painting, thought, here we go.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to do.
Maybe somebody else was throwing it away. And
Yeah.
He just picked it
Good
up.
point.
Found it in the trash.
So this circles back to Richard Kine's character that their last name was David as well, which was very confusing. But so he had asked Larry why he didn't come to the fundraiser, which is for the aforementioned organization that supports inmates who are also artists. And he said that, it got, I never got it. Must have gotten lost in the mail. Look, we've all said that. And I think it's a little harder in 2020 when you say, like, I didn't get that email. It must not have gone through. Which there's a time where that was very believable. But now it's like, no, it says sent here. And then that means on the other end, you definitely got it. And sometimes it's like, it tells me that you read it.
Right.
But, you're still able to do the thing where you can just say that a physical invitation got lost in the mail.
Right.
And that, of course, brings about the ire of the postman, who's like, well, I hear you're disrespecting the United States Postal Service, which I thought was great. Yeah. And so we learned that, and I think it's very important not to disrespect the United States Postal Service because of how much just they bring to your house every day.
Right.
They know your patterns, they know when you're home, they know when you're not. So
that way,
yeah,
geez.
I know,
just
right?
saying.
I was like,
Wow.
Uncle Sam's watching us.
I'm just saying.
Big brother.
So, and then is more than happy to let Ted Danson know that he saw Larry's side sitting with Cheryl. So there's a lot. This mailman is definitely, I believe his name's Randy. Maybe I'm wrong. But he can really create a lot of headaches for Larry. And Flobo, I'm wondering what you thought about the mailman.
I just figured out, man, here's this guy that's like gossiping around town. Is so easily triggered when they go to someone's house and be like, yo, heard you talking crap about me, yo. It's like, oh my goodness, I really thought there was going to be a drag out fight there, but thankfully it wasn't. To be undone by the mailman must be incredibly embarrassing, I gotta say.
And by the way, his name is not Randy, it's Ted. It wasn't even
Ted.
close.
Oh, yeah.
I
think Randy was from last episode. She's pregnant.
Yeah. That's why I got Randy in here. What do you think, James, about the mailman?
The mailman, again, it's all in being introduced to this show. It's like I see the joke, but then there's another layer of joke on top of it. And for me, in that scene, he said to him, he's like, I can't take you seriously wearing shorts. Are you really trying to confront me right now wearing shorts?
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, you know what? There's some truth behind that. If someone tried to step to me wearing shorts, I would just laugh in their face. You look like a child, sir. And you want to step to me like a man? You're a child.
You're going to Miami.
Put some big boy pants on and use your big boy words and get out my face.
Now, I have a different perspective on this. I actually I was really close with somebody who worked for the Postal Service as a delivery person.
Sure.
So I was looking, I was basically listening to this conversation okay, what he is saying, what the mail guy is saying, what Ted is saying is that everything's true. He got all of his uniform.
Yeah.
He has to wear it. It's not like he really has an option.
Yeah.
And what's he gonna do? Go off the clock and confront him? I mean, maybe he could have.
If you want to do some damage, that's what you do.
Yeah.
I can't lose a fight to a mailman. I will not tell anybody that ever happened.
Street cred.
Exactly. There was some ninjas, I swear.
We are almost out of time, but there's an important storyline that we do need to talk about, which is Larry and Rita, the receptionist from the lawyer's office, whose interaction doesn't start off particularly strong about really you need the validation, and he's like, well, yeah, I don't want to reach into my pocket, and then he's like, I was here more than an hour, more like an hour 10, so he gets the extra validation. But surprisingly, she's agreeable to go on a date with Larry, where they try out some of the different restrooms, which we don't see that part, so we don't know if that part really happened. Maybe that was, maybe that was him winning her over. But I found a very sort of a funny scene was they're at Rita's place on the couch, and Larry is very meticulously going through consent and asking if this is okay and this isn't, and then he takes the step of filming it, just to, and then very funny because Rita's like, can you send this to me afterwards? Yeah, I can CC you, I can blind CC, whatever you need. And, when, there's things that she's comfortable with and there's things that she's not comfortable with, she tells him. Larry's like, okay, that's great. Looks like it's time to go. The way that the whole scene plays out, it seems like a 2020 love story, but, Rachel, I'm sure that this was very reminiscent of you and Hubby Joe when you first met.
Again, you're just nailing my life
I
story.
I haven't read your life story, but I feel like
you know.
I know.
But I appreciated this. I love Terry Polo as Rita. I just feel like she plays all the beats exactly the way it needs to be done. But it was hilarious for me watching Larry videotape himself, actually asking her, "Can I do this? I am going to touch your shoulder with my right hand." It was such a romantic, tender moment. I was like, "Wow, this is." I simultaneously felt bad for him and felt bad for her too.
I felt particularly bad for her. But
she seemed to go
very
along with it.
And on the flip side, at least he was being a gentleman about it.
Yes.
Great point.
Give him that. Life lessons learned from Larry.
I've never seen a date end in a disposition like that before.
You must not be dating enough in 2020.
Apparently not.
There you go.
There was times I couldn't tell if Rita was on board or not. Her face kind of wavers sometimes. I was
She had to
is
think
this-
about it, and then when she was definitely not on board, she made sure to let him know.
Yeah.
Let's get to our special segment, which is the Curb Correction Corner, and we will each take a moment where we disagree profusely with what Larry did in the episode. Rachel.
Oh, I have a big one. Okay. So when we get that, one of the final moments where Larry, we think everything is turned up in the right direction for him. He goes, he's talking to Alice.
The assistant, she's going to go back to work.
Yeah, and Ted walks in, and
he needs to side sit.
And
just side sitting's not enough.
No.
He has to hold her hands.
So that's what I was going to say, is that it's when Larry goes and he reaches for Alice's hand, he doesn't just side sit.
No.
He grabs her, and it's like, okay, Larry, what are you doing?
Right.
You could have sat there and then I guess he was trying to make it look like he was on a date. But
she was trying to get away.
Yeah.
And he couldn't let Ted see that. What was yours, James?
For me, again, I gotta throw in some restaurant industry server love.
Sure.
My curb correction corner definitely was when Larry shushed away the server.
This is when he's with Cheryl.
When he's with Cheryl sitting down after he proposes the rekindling of their relationship. And he shushes away the server. Like, as a server, I'm like, yo, you'll starve to death before I come back to you. And like, if you remember, to bring things full circle, who was the only person in the entire episode who asked him about the diagnosis that the test that he was having?
And he said that we're all pulling for you here at the restaurant.
So sometimes we listen,
Server gets a spinoff next season.
Right? That's Server gets a spinoff.
Flobo.
I'm just not into sightseeing at all. How do I express my romantic love for my significant other on a date? She gets the booth half, I get the chair half. It's easy. The whole, let me go change my assignment to be a geometry diagram, not my thing. I never side-sit.
Mine's a little hypocritical because although I would have used the lawyer's restroom, I think that Larry knew better. He it didn't even seem like it was an emergency. It was just more that he could. I think emergency might change my sense on it. It was, as with so many things that Larry does, it was done out of spite. I know you have a news story, so let's get that in before we run out of time entirely.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Oh, I love this. Susie Essman, who plays Susie Green on the show, recently appeared on the Today Show, which is one of the best morning shows, according to my mom. She watches it every day. To talk about how to maintain and how to keep Curb Your Enthusiasm relevant after so much time between seasons. And frankly, it's all the things that piss off or annoy Larry. It's universal. They don't really go away. The idea now is to add more current element to keep things relevant for new fans, but ultimately we're all curmudgeons on inside. So check it out on Today News this week.
All right, thank you, Flobo. And we are in time. We went a little over, so my apologies to the affiliates. But we will be back next Monday at 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern for another episode of the Curb Your Enthusiasm After Show. Until then, Rachel, where do people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Rach Goodman or on Instagram on my author account at Rachel Radner Author. If you're a fan of Shrill, we are also coming for the AfterBuzz show today at, me and James. We're going to be here at 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Pacific Standard.
And James Maple.
You can follow me anywhere at Terrell James Maple. Holla at me, and I will holla back.
Really?
Flobito.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Flobo Boyce, on Instagram at Flobito, and of course, Flobito.com.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ, and Flobo and myself Thursdays at 9 Pacific, right here on AfterBuzz TV for the Star Trek Picard after show. That is indeed all the time we have, but thanks so much to everybody, and we'll see you next week. Until then, Happy New Year!
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.